Hi everybody, welcome back. Welcome to lesson 6, more Bootstrap components. So as you can tell from the name of this lesson, we're going to dive deeper into Bootstrap components. In lesson 5, you learned about some really important ones like page headers, buttons, and glyphicons. Basically, components or Bootstrap components are pre-made elements that you can plug right into your website just by using the pre-made CSS classes that Bootstrap comes preloaded with. So it's pretty cool because really quickly you can get some really modern, very nice looking features and elements in your projects. And the ones we've learned about are by no means the only ones that Bootstrap has to offer. We're going to dive in deeper in this lesson and we're going to learn about 2 additional ones, specifically tables and image thumbnails. Okay, we're going to practice image thumbnails in our first exercise here. But if you're curious what other Bootstrap components there are, aside from the 2 that we're going to add to our knowledge bank here, check out the Bootstrap docs and dive in deeper. Remember, docs are a great resource to use. Web designers and developers reference them all the time. I referenced them right before I started preparing my notes for this lesson. So please do not feel like it's something that you need to memorize. Professionals reference docs all the time. So without any further hesitation, let's go ahead and dive in. So the first exercise in lesson 6 is shoe shop. Basically what we're doing here is we're working on this online store for Horace's Shoe Shop. They want to feature some women's shoes, which they already have on their website. They have 3 women's shoes, and right now they only have 1 pair of men's shoes, but they also want it to be even with the women. So we're going to add in 2 additional men's shoes, but our goal is to basically present them as these small, tiny thumbnails. And we're going to do that by using the Bootstrap thumbnail class. Super easy. You're going to see in a moment. And our final result should be a grid of 3 men's images to complete the web page. All right. If you want to take it a step further, you can fill out more information on the shoes on the more info page, but we'll get to that later. Let's go ahead and dive in. So as you all know, first thing I like to do before I make any changes, run the code so you can see what you have, what it looks like before you make any changes. And the instructions said to view in a new window, and you're going to want to do this so that you can fully see the website in one window. Okay, so thumbnails, we're not strangers to this. If you've ever done any online shopping, you've seen something similar. Retailers and e-commerce sites commonly use thumbnail images when they're presenting products for sale because it makes it a lot easier for consumers to digest all of the options available when you take the images and shrink them into smaller sizes. So that's what a thumbnail is. It's basically just a smaller miniature version of a larger image. So we've seen this all before, but now let's recreate this by doing it ourselves with the thumbnail class. So back over in the website code, you'll notice that the women's shoes, the gallery of women's shoes, very beautifully written code, very easy to read here. The comments are also really helpful. Is basically just this big chunk of code right here. And if we break it down a little bit further, you can see that you have the header for the women's section right here. And then every single pair of shoes is given basically 4 columns. Remember, in our Bootstrap grid, we have 12 columns. So 3 shoes, we gave each pair 4 columns. And basically, you get this grid that you see here, 1 row of women's shoes. All right, so we're basically going to use the model we see above to finish up the men's shoes below. All right, they use publicdomainpictures.net, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. Remember, we learned about public domain pictures when we talked about copyrights in the HTML lesson. It's basically a public repository of images that are free for us to use. They're in the public domain. We don't have to worry about violating copyrights or getting any sort of permission to use them. I'm going to go ahead and search men's shoes, and I'm going to pick a couple pairs to add. All right. So right off the bat, see these Nike sneakers, really cool, modern, totally could see this in a shoe store. So I'm going to copy the image address. Remember, you want to copy image address. That's what you're going to need to plug in the image. Back over in the code, I'm going to go down here below, and again, really easily, clearly laid out. There's a comment that tells us exactly where to put it. Okay, since these are going to be linkable images, basically images that you can click and it'll take you somewhere else, we're going to put them inside of an anchor tag. So we're going to first need the A tag, and we're going to set the anchor tag to go to basically the more info page. And if you open up the panel here, you'll see that more info is another web page in the site. Okay, so if you're wondering what page that is, it's part of the project. And you can imagine this basically being a page where the customer could go to get more information like the brand, size, color, materials, etc. All right, so moreinfo.html. And very easy, we're just going to plug in the thumbnail class. And just like that, we're basically creating a thumbnail of an image. All right, only thing left to do is to put the actual image inside. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to set up my tag. Remember, image tags are one-sided, so you don't have a closing tag. And I'll run my code. Actually, I'll refresh it here so I can see it better. And there you go. All right. Very quickly, easily added in a thumbnail, and we're almost done with our grid here. All right, one more. So I'll find another pair. This looks like a pair you could totally see in a men's shoe store or in a shoe store in general. So I'm going to grab the image from the main page, copy the image address, and back over in the web page, I'm going to plug it in. You can totally use any shoes you want. This is your project, so have fun with it. You do not have to use the same images as me, okay? Just demonstrating here, but as long as you achieve the goal of the exercise, the images are not really that important, which ones you use, okay? So again, thumbnail, pre-made CSS Bootstrap class is going to tell the browser whatever's inside of this anchor tag, in this case the image, turn it into a thumbnail, and all that's left for us to do is plug in the image we want. And again, one final save and refresh, and you can see the third set of shoes. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this wraps it up. If you want to take it a step further, you can head over to the more info page and you can plug in some more information about the shoes. Totally feel free to have fun with this part, but the main objective was to add in the thumbnail images and work with our first Bootstrap component for this lesson. And if there's any questions, let me know. Very nice work.